Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tell Your Story. I'm Todd Nesloney, your host, principal in Texas, and also author of the book Stories from Web that this entire series is based after. I have another amazing guest for you this week, and her name is Pam Wheeler. Pam, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
I am so excited about being here tonight. I am, of course, known in the Get Your Teach On world as Mama Pam, and I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm also mama to Hope and Wade King and my son Justin, and I have just a quick little guest here for a moment. I'm Nani to this little girl right here, and
Aww.
I am a new Pimmy to my little Maverick King. So life is good for me right now, and I'm just very, very thankful. I am so pleased to be here tonight.
Well, I'm excited because,
And
I'm so tell me a little bit
go
about,
ahead.
you have a background in education as well. How did that come about for you? Was that always something you wanted to pursue?
Well, I've always felt like everybody has a background in education. No matter what field you're in or wherever you're at, you're an example to someone and you're a mentor to someone, and you can change a person's life by being you, by being real and by being you. And years ago, when I met my husband, we met at church camp. And we immediately started being youth pastors and youth sponsors and youth mentors. And of course, always loved athletics. So we started coaching, and we've always been involved in some sort of youth ministry, youth athletics, and raising hope. She always said she wanted to be maybe a small moment there. She said she'd be a nurse, but that she changed her mind. But education was always so real to her. And so I had the opportunity to homeschool her for a while. And so we had our classroom set up. And so education, being a teacher to her, and also having that opportunity changed my life. And it made me see the realization that everyone's a teacher. No matter where you're at, what you're doing, everyone's a teacher.
Now, you mentioned that you were in ministry for a while, and what kind of led to that? Was that always, thinking about when you were looking at some of the goals for your life, was ministry always kind of one of those pathways, or did you fall into it in a different way?
No, ministry's always been important to me since I was a little girl. My parents divorced when I was 8, and it was positive, great parents that kept it going for me. But I had families that took me and kept me going in the ministries of the church, even though my parents weren't there. And because of that, that always made me want to make the difference for young people. And fortunately, God put me with a gift of a husband that wanted the same thing. And he, even though he was in the field of engineering and I was in the field of business and accounting, and we had our outside jobs, the Lord allowed us as a team. And we've always been a team. We've been together 42 years to work in ministry. And we started out at I was 18, 19 years old when I met him, and we've been youth ministers and youth pastors ever since. And then my husband had a little bucket list, so I'll give him a plug for this. He always said if someday the Lord would allow us to be in the public school system to be coaches. Well, years ago, that just didn't happen. You had to be a teacher or administrator on, and the opportunity to work in guidance at our local high school and do some substituting on off days when I wasn't working, so I could be involved in the system, so I could coach. And him and I started coaching cross country and track at our local high school, and been there. Hope started running in I do believe 97, 98, and we've been there ever since, helping out and coaching, and the Lord opened doors for us to be head coaches. And be careful sometimes, because you never know where the Lord will put you. And when he does, it's always big and it's always exciting. Now, let me add this. It may not be easy.
Mm-hmm.
I've always taught my children, personal children, and my athletes that anything good in life is not going to come easy. It's going to come with a cost, and it's going to be tough, but it's worth it. it's worth it
Right.
when you can make a difference for someone. So
Well, I love that you and your husband do the ministry together. I think that's really powerful, and I'm sure that you've seen the fruitful ways that it's also grown you in your own marriage as well.
yeah,
Being all these years in ministry, what would you say is probably the biggest thing that it has taught you about yourself?
it's taught me patience about myself because I'm a go-getter and I'm a
Mhm.
workaholic. Anybody that knows me knows that's who I am. But God has my story. Pam
Mhm.
don't have my story. And when God has your story, you're going to do what God wants you to do. And that's just how it has to be. You have to be submissive to that. You have to be willing to do that because that's when things will line up. When, like I said, then we can be true ministers,
Right.
no matter what we're doing in life. It doesn't matter. I owned a cleaning service for years and years and years because back a little bit about myself, we found out we could not have children and we adopted my son, and what a gift he's always been to us in our life. But back 38 years ago, and his 38th birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, son.
Aw.
If you're on here. And we were pretty much told and impressed that you're not going to be a working mother. Well, I went to college and had a great job at a corporation doing well in accounting, and God had a different plan for me, even though that's what I thought. I was going to be a businesswoman all my life and advance and do well. And God had a different story for me. And so I chose to stay home and be a stay-home mom and always worked businesses out of my home. So I was able to start a cleaning service and was very successful at that, and changed people in my cleaning life, changed my life, and I changed theirs. And so always be careful what you say, because my mom used to, bless her heart now, but she used to say, "Oh, Pam, I've worked so hard to put you through school, and now you're have a cleaning business." And I said, "Mom, that's," and you've got to
Mhm.
be careful what you say, because like I said, God has your story, and when He does, great things happen.
Well, Pam, one of the
So
things
thrilled,
that
always.
one of the reasons I want Well, one of the reasons I wanted to have you as a guest on the show today is from the moment I've met you, you have this brilliantly positive, amazing servant heart. And even hearing you talk about some of your own journey, whether it's through ministry or it's through cleaning houses or it's choosing to be a stay-at-home mom, you always are serving and you do it with such joy and such love. It never seems like it's a chore to you or anything like that. And obviously, being someone like that, you probably make a really conscious effort to really make sure that not only are you serving, but you're serving with that joyful heart. Have you always just naturally been a servant, or has it been something you had to work towards?
No, it's funny because that's just who I am.
Mhm.
That's just what I'm made of. That's my being. That's everything that I am. I'm here to serve. And is that a great thing? No, it's not always a great thing.
Right.
I'm sure I've sacrificed my family at times because I had to, my story. I had to take care of a brother for 20 years. He was very ill, and I had to take care of him, and I had to take care of a mentally challenged mother who I was very close to and who made me who I am today. And so, no, it's not always easy being a servant. I'm going to tell you, it's hard work sometimes. And sometimes it's easy to give up and say no, but I'm not a quitter.
Right.
I'm a winner. And that's just who I am. And I just believe that if everybody could grab a hold of that and know that you are who you are, be real with yourself, don't let anybody tell you any different. Define your happiness through Christ. Your happiness is defined through Christ and who you are, not another person. Don't rely on other people to make you happy. That's icing on the cake. My family and my friends and everyone with me is icing on the cake. But my happiness is defined through Christ and myself. And yes, it's been easy. I'm going to tell you, I've worked hard. Has my challenges been hard? Yes. Has my struggle been hard at times? Oh, we got our stories. We can all tell you all of our struggles. But has it been easy? Yes, for me it has, because that's who I am.
Right.
And I choose. I'm going to tell you the difference is I choose to make it that way.
Well, and it's a natural thing, and I think it draws people into you because it doesn't feel like it's a forced or fake thing. And now with you having a daughter and a son-in-law who are known all over the place, and you've kind of built up a little fan base too of people who know you and call you Mama Pam, and I'm sure when you go to like different events with Hope or Wade, people will stop and say things to you. And being that servant, I know sometimes that leaves you behind the scenes a lot. How does it feel to now get some of the recognition for a lot of the work that you're putting in?
And that's so funny because people will stop and ask me that. Pam, how's this feel? I don't notice it, honestly. As we all know, when you work a Get Your Teach On conference, there's no time to worry about whether somebody's noticing you or not, in case you wondered.
Right.
You know that. You work hard behind scenes. We unload trucks. We do all that we do. But I'm going to be honest. I really don't pay a whole lot of attention to that recognition. Really, I don't. Because when I watch Hope and Wade and their passion and the desires that they have, I get to see the behind scenes with them. I get to see when they're tired, and I get to see when can I do, and what will we need to do to make those kind of changes and make this work. That's what I see, and I see willing hearts, and that's what it's about. It's not about recognition. Who cares? At my age, and it's a joke, kindly, I'll tell the kids, a lot of the teachers that'll meet me and say, "Oh, Mama Pam, I'm so excited. Aren't you just so excited about all this that's going on?" And it's just kindly a little joke, because I'm like, number one, it's really hard work. And number two, this is our story. This is where we're at. And whether it's a year or 2 or 5 years or 10 years, if someone has been made for the better, then that's what it's about. And I really hope everybody understands that it's just what we can do to make the difference.
Yep. Well, you've been a mother for many years now, but you just recently became a grandmother. And so what is that? What have you seen change in your own world now with those changes that have come about for you?
Okay. All my friends, I'm behind on the grandma scene. Okay. I'm real behind on the scene. All my friends have grandkids that are teenagers, and, they're all about that. And so I've always kidded Hope and Wade. I'm like, I'm a little behind, guys. Catch me up. But all my friends will tell me, they always tell me, Pam, there's something about a love for a grandbaby. And I said, I kind of was offended at first by that, because I was like, my kids are my everything. There's no way that I would look at my children and think that I could love another human being as much as I love, my children, my husband. That's my life. That's my family. That's my involvement. But when little Maverick made it into this world and he looks at me, I'm just going to tell you, I can't even describe. Oh my goodness. And now I believe all those grandmothers and grandfathers that said, you just can never contain the love that you have. And it's true. What a gift. What a gift I have now in Maverick. And, I'm so glad God waited till I was 61 and my life slowed down just a tad so that I could just so enjoy him. And what a perfect little gift. And I can't thank the Lord enough for him. He's everything to me.
Well, and I've heard too that when one of your children has their first child and it's your first grandbaby, sometimes that even grows you even closer to your own child through that whole process. Have you seen that happen with you and Hope as well?
It does, because now I get to see my daughter, who is tired at this point. She don't care if I'm real. Who's exhausted, dark circles around her eyes, trying to figure out the baby schedule and the feeding schedules. And I watch her trying to shuffle this all around. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud. I just can't even tell you. I've always been proud of my children, no matter what they've done. But to watch her want to serve her baby is just so amazing. And I know I've done something right now. I mean, you sometimes as a parent, you think, have I done right? Have I done well by my children? Have I taught them well? Have I taught them to be who they need to be? But when I watch Hope and Wade as well with little Maverick and what they're doing for him, I've done something right. So yeah, I give myself a little pat on the back.
I love that. Well, Pam,
pleased.
you mentioned Wade just there. And, one thing I've always loved about you is if anybody was looking in from the outside, I think it would be difficult at first for them to see which Hope or Wade was truly your own child, because you really treat him publicly and privately like he is your son. Has that been something that was always from the start? Because I know there are some families that isn't necessarily the case.
When Wade came in our life, and he won't care, he's told his story many a times. When I met Wade as a man and who he is, immediately meeting him, I knew he was true. He was real. He was everything he said he was. And when God gifted Hope and Wade to each other, there was never a question. It's an ongoing joke now, really. I'm like, if nothing would ever happen to Hope and Wade, but it's an ongoing joke when they were dating. I'm like, oh, if you guys quit dating, Hope, you're going to have to find a new home, because like Wade's permanently here. So it was kind of an ongoing joke, but yes, Wade truly is my son, and I never questioned that. And I have my son as well, and he knows that. Justin knows that. Justin, Wade, and Hope are right there on that same level, and he's everything to us. And there isn't a difference, and I'm thankful that you see that. Because you see that, I know Hope. I know that Wade sees that. So, and I'm very thankful that you noticed that.
Well, and I think, and it's such a powerful thing to think about, because, I see so many relationships that people are in where their own families don't always accept who they are, or if they do, it's very much of a surface acceptance. But from the moment I've met any of you three, it's always been, there was never any differentiation, never any treating differently. And I know that from the outside, that's very impactful to see. But I also think of my own life and how, how that must make Wade feel to have parents like y'all that he can call parents because of the way you treat him, and just to have that reminder that even though they're not blood, they love me like I was their blood, I know is just such a testament to who you and your husband are and the way that y'all are with him. And so I know that I've said this like the whole episode, like there's so many things about you that impress me, but that's why I was like, I have to have Mama Pam on. And I was so scared when I asked that you were going to be like, no, I don't get on camera. I don't do that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, I really want to introduce her to the world because there's so many amazing things about her.
Well, I want to say this too, and I hope I've always displayed that with my athletes or anything. Any of us, and I'm challenging the world, anybody that can see me tonight, that there's no judgment. We have to just be who we are and love everybody for who they are. How can we make a difference in anyone's life if we are not who we are, and we're not who we say we are, and we don't love truly with real form, and not just a fake, just to get somebody to like us. I've always said I don't need a lot of friends because I'm 61. That's one less Christmas card I have to send out. And it's an ongoing joke with Wade, because it's so funny with Wade, because he always says, Pam's friends. She's got all kinds of friends, Pam's friends. But that says to me that I've listened to the story. I've listened to Christ. I've read his word to know that if we're going to change the world, that's the only way we can be. And I don't ask credit for any of that. I really don't. I don't want anybody to think, oh, she thinks she's all that sitting up there saying that. No, it's just I hope that I can challenge everyone. That's who we need to be.
I love that. Well, Pam, the one final question I want to end with you today is if there is one lesson that you have learned in your lifetime that has been the most impactful lesson that's just changed everything for you, what would that lesson, what has that lesson been?
The lesson would be to accept others. My lesson to accept others, no matter what the cost. It may take something from me. It may challenge me in ways that may be very difficult. I may have to put a lot of my feelings aside, and I may have to almost dislike myself at times. Be easy to accept that person. Will I be able to accept the things they say or the things they do without being, like I said, judgmental? But acceptance is my big tool, and I hope that the Lord laid that on my heart many, many, many years ago. Pam, just be accepting to others. Love them, be accepting to others, be forgiving, and I'll do the rest.
I love that. And that is the perfect way to end. Well, Pam, you know I adore you, and I love that what you say here today, I can attest to that you live that out. There has never been a doubt in my mind that everything you said today is exactly who you are. So thank you for all that you do and all that you bring, but also thank you for coming on here and being brave enough to tell some of those pieces of that story and share some of yourself with others. I appreciate and admire you so much.
Thank you. And I can't wait to see all the teachers in just a few weeks at Dallas. It's going to be awesome. So you guys get your party shoes on. We're ready to go.
Well, thank you everybody else for listening or watching as well to this episode. I hope it's inspired, encouraged, or challenged you in one way or another to get out there and tell your story, because every story matters. See you next week.